He's got many best-selling books out, and the Killing series, and he's got a new book out with his co-author Martin Dugard, and the new book is called "Killing the Mob: The Fight Against Organized Crime in America," and it was just published, and you can get it anywhere. It's published by St. Martin's, and joining us now on the line is Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for being with us, Bill.
How you doing, Howie? How's everything up there?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Hey, listen, I liked your book. It's very, very enjoyable reading. There were some little anecdotes. I thought I would know most of the stuff in this book, but there was some stuff I didn't know. For instance, just to cite one example, Estes Kefauver, a forgotten figure today. He was the senator from Tennessee. He had the Kefauver organized crime hearings. Joseph P. Kennedy's name was mentioned 3 times in those hearings over the course of his visits. But something happened when Estes Kefauver, he was a notorious womanizer, alcoholic, bribe-taking senator from Tennessee, ran for president a couple of times. Tell us what happened when Estes Kefauver brought his traveling circus to Chicago.
Well, he had all kinds of mistresses and all kinds of stuff, and that was the mob's modus operandi. They wanted to get their hooks into anybody in Washington with any power, and when they saw how Estes was using them, they decided to really get into his life. And when they did, just like with J. Edgar Hoover, very, very similar. They found all kinds of stuff. So they were able to neutralize him because, as you said, he was a womanizer, he's a boozer, and I mean, not anything that we're not used to hearing today, but back then in the 50s, that was a knockout punch. So they had him, and, Giancana and the boys, they played with him like he was some kind of mouse toy.
Yeah. Well, you tell the story of this guy, Sidney Korshak, who was like this legendary figure, someone like out of a movie. He was a high-powered outfit lawyer from Chicago who just basically ran Hollywood in many ways. I remember reading, like in the 70s, Seymour Hersh did this huge takeout in the New York Times on him when he was in his 70s by then. But I guess Korshak met with Senator Kefauver and handed him a picture, some of these surveillance photos from private detectives or whatever. He was in the sack with 2 naked young girls at the Drake Hotel. I never heard that story. In Chicago, right.
Yeah. Well, Korshak is one of the linchpins of Killing the Mob. He literally ran the Hollywood industry, the film industry. So Sidney wasn't a gangster. He was an attorney. He was like Tom Hagen in The Godfather. He was like Robert Duvall. But his power was unmatched. So between the years of 1946 and 1962, organized crime ran the film industry. And whenever they had to have a conversation with a guy like Estes, it was Sidney who did it. And Sidney would drop the pictures on the desk or wherever they were and just look at them and say, I know you're going to be our friend. That was the key phrase. But Korshak, he basically ran Hollywood because the moguls didn't, number one, want any trouble with organized crime, and number two, knew that the unions were all controlled. So if you wanted lighting guys, sound guys, camera guys to shoot your film, you had to give the mob a piece of the film. And you had to put guys in the movie that the mob may want to be cast, a la Frank Sinatra from Here to Eternity. All of that is true. And it was all done in a very slick manner, and Sidney Korshak never was caught. The FBI knew what he was doing later because Hoover didn't investigate the mob because they had stuff on him. Maybe pictures we hadn't been able to nail that down, but they had something on him. And people don't know that. I mean, one of the things in the book that we found out that I don't think you knew or anybody else knew, because I certainly didn't, was they had a contract out on Desi Arnaz. Lucy.
Yeah, I'd heard that one. Yeah. Yeah, after the
You
Untouchable.
did hear it before?
Yeah, I'd heard that one. Yeah, you tell the story though. It's a great story. Most people don't know it. Desi Arnaz, after I Love Lucy ended, he became a big time Hollywood producer, TV, like Dick Powell was. All these guys that used to be film actors became producers, and his super successful series was The Untouchables, and of course, The Untouchables was about Al Capone and the outfit in Chicago and the during Prohibition, and the mob didn't like it. So just pick up the story there, Bill.
Okay, so we're investigating. Dugard and I are investigating Sam Giancana, who was probably the most interesting of all the mobsters. He wasn't the most powerful. Lucky Luciano was first, and then Vito Genovese took over. They're the most powerful. All right. But Giancana, he was very, very influential because he had hooks into the Kennedy family,
right?
As you know,
Judith Campbell Exner.
Kennedy,
yeah,
right. He and Joe Kennedy were friends. They dined together. They met together in the Fontainebleau in Miami, and Joseph Kennedy didn't hide it. He's having dinner at very expensive New York City restaurants with Sam Giancana, and in Chicago, you'll know that the Kennedys own the Merchandise Mart in Chicago. So, anyway, we're investigating how much influence Giancana had in the 1960 election, and he had a lot. And he threw Cook County over to JFK, and that really put him over the top to be president. So along the way of looking into Giancana, who had shared a girlfriend with JFK, Judith Exner, I mean, the guy, Giancana's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Right.
We come across this Desi Lou thing where Giancana at that point was crazy arrogant. And he said, I don't want Italians being run down every week on this blanking show. You tell him you got to have other gangsters. So Desi Arnaz sends a note back to Giancana in Chicago saying, what do you want to do? Make them Jews? Like in a wise guy way. Like, I don't respect you. I don't fear you. That very day, Giancana hires an assassin. We name the assassin. The guy didn't want to do it because the assassin didn't want to do it because he goes, look, if I whack this guy, everybody in the country is going to see it. This is Desi Arnaz. I said, look, hey, everybody knows him.
Right.
So Desi Arnaz was this close to getting a bullet in the back of the head. I'm not going to tell you the whole story because I want people to read Killing the Mob. But it's a fascinating look at power, how much power these guys had until Bobby Kennedy decided to go get them.
Well, the thing is too that when Bobby Kennedy told Hoover to go after them, they started putting in these gypsy wires and they started picking up this crazy stuff at the Giancana's Lounge. Well, all the mob places, including Boston. But at Giancana's Lounge, they were talking about killing Sammy Davis Jr. or putting out his other eye. Because they were so mad at the Kennedys because they figured the Kennedys had double-crossed them. They thought they had a deal. They gave JFK the presidency. And then Joe, the old man, has a stroke, and they can't go through Joe anymore. And the kids are these spoiled rich kids, Jack and Bobby, and they don't realize that their dad has cut a deal with these guys, and these guys are serious people. And it's just it really is an amazing time in the history.
And we get into it pretty deeply, and I spent some time with Robert Kennedy Jr., all right, Bobby's oldest son. Because, I mean, look, when I write these books, I'm not taking stuff from other people. We're doing primary source stuff. And here's what I got from the Kennedy family itself. So John Kennedy, the president, he knew that he was compromised. He knew that Exner was a girlfriend of Giancana, not when he started the affair, but when J. Edgar Hoover told him.
Right. He went to the White House. That was the last time he ever visited the White House.
Right. So J. Edgar Hoover said basically, look, we know you're fooling around with Exner, and Exner is the mistress of Sam Giancana. And then J. Edgar Hoover just looked at Kennedy, and you didn't have to really say anything else.
Yeah.
So Kennedy knew they had him, but he couldn't control his brother. Bobby was not going to back off. And I said, look, I said to RFK Jr., I said, it doesn't make sense. Bobby's father and brother don't want him to go after organized crime. Why did he do it? And the consensus is, never been written down or even discussed, the consensus is that Bobby Kennedy had a very strong resentment against his father because he wasn't the favorite son. First, Joe was, and second, John was. And Bobby was kind of an afterthought.
Well, there are also stories that Bobby is not even Joe Kennedy's son. That's never been proven, but there have been.
I don't think so. I mean, the facial and the teeth and all that. I don't think that's true.
Not as big as the other Kennedys, though. Kind of small.
Yeah, you can see it though. I can anyway. But look, the power is what this book is all about. And the other interesting thing about Killing the Mob is we have a tremendous amount of people in this book. I mean, you go all the way from John Dillinger up to John Gotti. Whitey's in there, but Whitey was as Don Corleone said, he's a pimp. He's a little guy. He was a local thug. He didn't rise to where we are in Killing the Mob. But every single person who got involved with organized crime and was in all this corrupt machine wound up in a bad place, with the exception of Sidney Korshak. He got away. He's the only one. The others either got killed, incarcerated in the worst possible ways, including Jimmy Hoffa. And we have a moment-by-moment on how Hoffa got whacked, which I had never seen. I don't think anybody else has what we have. And we got it from the family.
Yeah, I guess your old employer, Fox News Channel, is saying there are new clues today, but there are always new clues in the Hoffa case, Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
You know what the new clues are? Killing the Mob. They read the book, so now they got new clues.
Well, it's an interesting book. You got a lot of good pictures in it too, and there's so much interesting stuff about I was thinking about the CIA, how they came to be. J. Edgar Hoover tried to stop them, but the CIA with the old OSS had worked with Meyer Lansky and Luciano during World War II, so they were pals. And I think the OSS told their mob friends to get some dirt on J. Edgar Hoover. And as you say, no one's ever proven what they had, but people have claimed they've seen pictures of J. Edgar and Clyde Tolson. You got a nice picture of those two together.
They had something. There's no doubt about it, because Hoover even denied there was a mafia. Yeah. And at your reference point, the mob helped Patton invade Sicily.
Yeah.
And in return, FDR allowed a lot of the Sicilian gangsters into the United States. That was the turning point in 1946, and we tell that story. And I wrote the book Killing Patton, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I specifically, the Sicilian mob, they practiced sabotage on the Germans, and they gave Patton the landing sites.
Yeah.
And in return, they got to come here and created all the havoc.
Yeah. And Luciano was taken care of when he was thrown out of the country. One last story, Bill. J. Edgar Hoover, his first name was John, and Truman Capote, when he and Hoover and Tolson were running around, he said, "I think I'm going to do a call. I'm going to do a magazine story on the FBI's boss's personal life." J. Edgar Hoover, he said, "I'm going to call the story Johnny and Clyde." It was a well-known secret. It wasn't a very well-kept secret. Bill O'Reilly, I'm enjoying the book, and I'm enjoying it. Always good to talk to you. The title of your new book is, tell everybody.
Killing the Mob, The Fight Against Organized Crime in America. Go to BillO'Reilly.com. If you buy it from us, we'll give you 50% off one of Howie's favorite books, Killing Crazy Horse. So it's a great deal on BillO'Reilly.com.
I love the Indian Wars, too. I love mob wars, books about the mob wars and about the Indian Wars. Thank you, Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for being with us. Always good to talk to you again. This summer, I'm going to be going to the Cape. I'm going to be doing a lot of remotes with Grace, and I'm going to be spending a lot of weekends. We got a place rented down there, so I'm going to be enjoying myself, but I'm going to be sharing the house with the mailroom manager and my kids. And guess what? They don't like a lot of the same music or the podcasts that I like to listen to. So that's why I need Raycons so that I won't bother anyone. And you know what? They need their Raycons too, so they won't bother me. Whether you're just fixing a nice meal in the kitchen or doing some yard work or just taking a long walk with your dog, a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all the difference and give you a lot more pleasure. You don't have to worry about a Karen screaming at you because you'll be listening to some podcast about true crime like we were just talking about now, or some classic rock hits. You get crisp, powerful beats with Raycon at half the price of other premium audio brands. Raycons look great and feel even better. They come in a range of cool colors and with customizable gel tips included for a comfortable in-ear fit. And Raycons are built to go wherever you go, with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. And you know, the thing is, these you can get a 24 hours of battery life with a charge with your Raycons. 24 hours. That means you don't have to keep recharging them very often. You can just keep listening for days. And that's what you want to do. If you're wherever you're going this summer, to the beach, to the mountains, to lakes, or just to hang out in the city, Raycons make it a more pleasant experience wherever you go. They're an absolute must-have for your daily grind or the relaxation from your daily grind. Listen up. Raycon is offering 15% off all their products for my listeners, and here's all you've got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.